Did you read about this? I hate to sound like Jay Leno, but did you?
I don't think so.
Oh, did you read about this, Dave?
Yeah.
You must have.
I was telling you.
Oh, did we talk about this? Yeah.
Oh, this fucking story is wild. I like stories. I love stories like this. So, I mean, just briefly, Dave, jump in where I'm wrong here. So, I had never heard of. Had you ever heard of Ozy Media, Mike?
No. I thought when he said it, I assumed it was like an Australian media company or something.
Not like it. I think if you mentioned it, I would have known. But I'm like subscribed to their newsletters, and I don't know why. But except now this week, I know why.
Well, they just did it to you.
They bought me.
So they're like a small. They're a media company that claimed to be really big. There was this guy who also claimed to be this like host of shows on MSNBC and CNN, but he really wasn't. He was like an occasional contributor. Charles, I'm forgetting his
Carlos
name.
Watson.
Carlos Watson, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So he ran this company, and they claim they were getting like, it's like EI, EI buys those Twitch followers or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like that. So they were buying all these followers and claiming all these, like they would have like 4 million views on something on YouTube and like one comment on it. Like and that one comment is like, these weird ones you see on Twitter all the time about buying stuff.
It's a link to something.
Yeah. So they had a conference call with I was gonna say Charles Schwab, but that's not right.
Goldman Sachs. And
they had a YouTube person, a Goldman Sachs person, right, supposedly lined up on the Zoom call, and a couple of people from the company as well, the Ozy company, were going to have this call to give this to let them know how big the numbers were and all this stuff, but they couldn't get the YouTube person on the Zoom call. The YouTube person was saying, "Oh, my Zoom link is broken. I'm trying to do it. I can't do it. Can we do a conference call?" Yeah. Charles Schwab people said, "Sure, okay, fine." And the Ozy people said, "Fine." And so they give the presentation. They say, this person, this YouTube person is saying, "Oh, this partnership," because they're trying to raise dough from Charles Schwab. From
$100 million.
$100 million.
Goldman Sachs.
Goldman Sachs. I don't know why I'm saying that. Goldman Sachs, $100 million. So this person is saying, and I find this to be a fascinating media story almost more than the bullshit. This YouTube person is saying, "These fucking numbers are unbelievable. Like, this is incredible what they're doing."
Yeah.
And during the meeting, they realized this person, I think his name was Kim, I want to say, voice sounded different and weird and stuff. So it's over. They contact the person from YouTube, and the person from YouTube says, "I've never spoken to these people in my life." And the Ozy people are like, "You know what? We kind of fucked up. It was actually one of our people. Like, I think it was like their CEO or something, or like
their COO.
Their COO, the chief operating officer. Was like, no, it was them. They've had some mental problems though, so don't worry about it."
Don't do any digging on
I can't imagine, by the way, like it's easy to just get on the phone the head of, I think it was unscripted programming for YouTube. Like that's not just an easy thing to get. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Why would they? I mean, yeah.
Like even if you would have to be the biggest media company in the world.
Although if you're trying to if you're at the point where you are going to raise $100 million from Goldman Sachs, I could see maybe this person's in the media, and they've had a lot of prominent media people on their stuff. So maybe somebody knew somebody who worked at YouTube. Maybe.
It'd be great if
potentially. I mean, but what's amazing to me is now it's just a shitstorm. New York Times, and I think the New York Times is generally full of shit. But they're I think the guy's name's Ben Smith. He's written like 6 stories on it. He's done an excellent job on it, and it's really interesting to watch this company just completely implode.
Well, they shuttered on Friday, and
but
then
now
on
the
Monday,
guy's claiming they're back.
He goes all over CNBC and
He's
just
on the
gets
Today Show, I
fucking
think,
grilled,
right?
Like just gets demolished. He was claiming Sharon Osbourne was a shareholder. She came out and said she never was.
Right.
Like he's just fucking
a
nuts.
weird hill to die on.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me of that. What was the high school or the high school football team, British Sycamore or something like that, on ESPN? Where I'm like, I'm impressed that they even got the meeting with the guy from Goldman Sachs.
Well, it's like Theranos. It's like Elizabeth Holmes. Like it's sort of where it's just all bullshit. And they get in this company, Ozy company, OZY, I think, right?
Yep.
Well, of course, they had a thing called an Ozy Fest, and Ozzy Osbourne's company fucking sued them and won. They were like, "You are clearly doing like what?
It doesn't sound anything like it.
What the fuck are you doing?"
And it's a music fest. Like they're a media company for podcasts and writing and shit like that, but they're doing a music festival.
This company for investors has Mark Cuban, I believe, and the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks was a huge investor in this company, which is
really
complete. Like this company is completely built on bullshit. But what happens, what I find to be the most interesting thing, is that Goldman Sachs was like ready to give them $100 million. And they had this call and they're like, "Oh, maybe." Like it's these old people throw this money at these companies. They don't have a fucking clue. It's $100 million. That's people's money.
Yeah, so make it out to cash, you say?
Yeah. Like they're just giving them money and it's all bullshit. I'm like, holy fuck. It's wild. It's a great. I find it to be a great story.
It's fast. It's going to make a good Netflix documentary.
Yeah, a good podcast series or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's good. They have to end it at some point, right? I mean, this guy Watson's claiming they're going to continue, but they can't.
No employees want to go back.
Right, and now everyone's talking. Like everyone now that the cat's out of the bag, everyone's talking. Yeah, so I was running this morning. I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about it, and I was like, "Is it possible this is like going on at Barstool and just nobody knows?"
No, of course not. But we at Patreon do get 400 million views a month. So if anyone wants to sponsor us,
but you never know with your company. I know Barstool's on the up and up, but I'm just saying you never really know.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's obviously signs that these companies are bullshit where our company isn't. But
there's so much engagement with Barstool that would be an impressive undertaking.
True. Like let's take if you go and listen to Carlos Watson's podcast, right? Mm-hmm. And he does an ad read for who'd you do an ad read for yesterday? Some athletic apparel like shorts or something like that. I got 3 DMs yesterday for the promo code. Right, that was like real people were reacting. Yeah. Carlos Watson does the same read, and nobody's going to respond to that because he is buying every single listen that goes into that podcast.
And he admitted it on NBC yesterday. He's like, yeah. He's like, at first we bought stuff. Yeah. So what? and I know what he's saying. Like a lot of companies do it first, and it's sort of not. It's almost not even matters what you do at first. It's can you make it work once you do it.
Yeah. That's the brilliance of those guys, like the Firefest guy, where they're able to have this almost slimy charm about them, where it's like you don't even realize they're lying to you for a minute.
Right. They don't
he
care.
was just coming out and admits it on CNBC. He's like, would I say that we made, 80% of our business was a mistake? No. Would I say 20% was a mistake? Yeah, probably. Was it illegal? No, but it was a mistake. He's just a scumbag.
And, of course when you're talking about like $100 million and you're lying to these people and they give you you are getting in some real fucking tricky federal legal stuff. Like you got to be careful. But like, I always wonder how much of this is going on that we don't even know about in the media. Cause we see these things all the time. I look at things and say, this thing gets no engagement. How is this person getting $50-60 million? What is going on? Yeah. I don't know.
Well, Twitter's the most obvious. And I think they've kind of cracked down on it, but there used to be I remember radio guys. That Scott and Todd show, Todd Pettingale? Mm-hmm. He had 250,000 followers.
And the next day, 12?
And well, not even that. It would just be but he'd send out a tweet and it would have 4 likes.
Right. It's like the guy who did the podcast with Chappelle who was torturing us for a couple of days.
Talib Kweli.
Yeah. He'd get he had 1 million. He'd tweet something and have no retweets.
That was always weird. Yeah, that was weird too because he has fans.
Oh, I think everybody just muted him probably.
Maybe,
he was but yeah, you do see that. You're like, well, that's not real. I remember there was that day a couple of years ago where Twitter did a major purge and some people went from I remember there's an old voiceover guy at EEI, Pete Gustin. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Pete Gustin. I went to high school with.
Fellow Legally Blonde guy.
Yes. He had 17,000 followers. Next day he had 1,200.
Oh, jeez.
And you're like, oh, jeez. Well, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But then if you look up my account, probably it says probably 40% of it's probably spam anyway.
Sure.
Most of them are anyway. I mean,
Yeah, there's a difference between buying followers. I think there's a difference in numbers. Like if you go from 17,000 to 2,000, I think you have to be buying followers.
Yes.
Whereas if Twitter does a purge, you probably will lose 1,000 followers.
Oh, I did one time. Yeah, it was 700-800 or something in one day. I was like, holy. I mean, I don't really care, but yeah. So
that's because people bots are following you so that you then follow them.
Right.
Yeah. And then
there's also people that haven't used their account in years and shit like that they get rid of.
So I remember one time on the old show, John Tomasi won some contest and we bought him 1,000 Twitter followers and it cost 11 cents or something. Curtis did it for. Yeah, it was a bunch of Russian bots or something. I don't even know. Who knows? Bizarre. But yeah, it's a funny story. It's like I said, that guy, I think it's Ben Smith's his name. He's written 6 stories and they're all great. I mean,
he might have started BuzzFeed.
He did. Yeah, he did. He went. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Unfortunately, I have to fucking clear my history every time I read the New York Times because I don't subscribe to it. It's a fucking pain in the ass. But
I like the attitude of the guy too. 4 million or 4,000. What's the we're reaching people.
It's true.
What's the difference?
So weird.
He comes off very well when he lies. You can tell why he was effective doing it.
And he fooled all these celebrities. They had a shitload of celebrities on. They had Oprah on and all these different people. It's how do you buy this bullshit?
The amazing thing is those guys could scam their way into legitimate careers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that takes work.
He could kind of scam himself, where he is running a scam, but getting a legitimate job and making a shit ton of money, where it's not going to all blow up in his face eventually.